Hey guys, today I had the absolute pleasure and privilege to sit down with Amita Berthier. She is a two-time Singapore Olympic competitor in fencing. Amazingly, she went to both Tokyo and Paris in the Olympics, and she is a 3 times Southeast Asian gold medalist. We unpack her journey growing up in Singapore to moving to the US where she studied at Notre Dame, and we talk about her journey towards the Olympics in LA. We hope she makes it. I hope you guys enjoyed the chat as much as I did. It was a real pleasure. I watched her in Paris, amazed at what she was doing, and I think you will find her journey inspiring. Cheers. Amita, how are you?
I'm very good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us this morning. Now, for the few people that don't know you, and there aren't going to be many, but just in case there are, can you just introduce yourself and give a quick overview of your backstory?
Sure, no problem. My name is Amita Berthier. I'm 24 years old. I'm a Singaporean national fencer. I've been to the Olympics twice, and yeah, that's much about me.
What a story. So when did fencing find you? How old were you?
I was 7 years old. I found it by chance. So I actually was playing football for GSSL Arsenal when I started when I was 5.
Really?
With my sister. And then we were in United Square going to tuition called the Learning Lab. It just happened that the floor below was this club called Sea Fencing.
I remember where that is actually.
Yeah, you do?
Yeah, I do.
The club was made of glass, fully glass, so we could see what was happening from the outside. And my sister and I was like, this is so cool, people hitting each other with swords. We want to do this. And my parents signed my sister and I up for a class during school holidays. And ever since then, we never stopped.
That was it. Is she still fencing?
No, she stopped a couple years ago. Yeah, just to pursue her career in law.
How old were you when you knew you were better than her?
Since the beginning. No, honestly, it was really tricky because I think my sister was my biggest competitor in Singapore. And, fencing or competing against a sibling is never easy. There's obviously rivalry there, but also love at the same time. So when one wins the other, we're never elated. But I think when I was about 17, I realized that, I was pretty good at this, and she was really good too. I just had maybe more of passion for the sport than she did.
But so you only thought it at 17, which is quite late, really.
Yeah, well, I knew that I had some kind of potential when I went for my first international competition in Scotland, and I won it in my category. My sister won it in her category.
Wow. And
that was our first ever time traveling internationally for competition.
How old were you at the time?
I was 10. Okay. Yeah.
Oh wow! So
that's when we were like, okay, we're kind of decent at this. Let's try to see if we, it was just a one-time fluke or we're okay. And then
yeah, that's amazing. I don't know if you know this. Bruce Lee created his own martial art, Jeet Kune Do, and a foundation of it was fencing.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, so he would go. So in karate, there's something called point karate, where you get in and you get out. Right, because in theory, in fencing, if it's a real sword, it's
you gotta get out there.
You know what I mean? It's over.
Yeah.
So when you went through, when you started at school, you're 17. When did you realize, look, this is going to potentially take me abroad?
Yeah. So I moved to the US when I was 16, because US is obviously really, really strong in sports in general, but in fencing, they are one of the strongest competitors on the world stage. And then I was like, if I want to really get to that next level, I have to move abroad. And so I did.
Let's unpack that. I'm just really curious. So when did you first have that conversation with mum and dad and your coaches?
So I had that conversation with my mum and dad probably in 2016.
How old
January.
were you?
I was 15.
Okay.
And then a couple months later, my dad passed. So I think that was also a motivation for me because it was one of his dreams for me to study abroad and also just broaden, and my kind of expertise and get to a different level in fencing.
Yeah.
So that really pushed me to wanting to go overseas.
At 16 though, it's not university, right?
No, so I did my last year of secondary school kind of online.
Okay.
I found this online school course in the US that was recommended to me by another friend of mine who's American.
Okay.
She was on the national team, so she was homeschooled her whole life. So she recommended that to me.
What's that called?
I think I have to get back to you on the name, but I'm not so sure.
Okay,
it was many years ago.
But that's just a change, it's...
Yeah, it was a change. I was in Singapore sports school in here.
Okay.
So
Were you boarding with them?
yes, I was boarding with them.
I've heard it's actually meant to be quite fun, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was fun. You're surrounded by people that also have same drive as you. All of them are athletes, so it's very important.
One of my son's friends from, I think it's from primary school, middle school. He's there now doing fencing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's his name? Do you know?
I think if I get this wrong, I apologize. I think it's
Asfar.
Asfar.
Yes, I know Asfar. Yes,
Lovely
yes,
young
yes.
man, right?
Yeah, very hard worker. Good potential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that, I found that
cool.
fascinating.
Yeah.
So you're looking at it. So when you moved to the US, was it high school?
Yeah. So it was technically last year in high school. And it was for me to be able to focus 100% on sport also at the same time.
So how do you choose where to go?
So my coach had been coaching me since I was about 8. His name is Ralph Bistorff. He's Olympic silver medalist, several-time world champion. He had married a Singaporean and had got a job opportunity in Boston. And when he learned that my dad had passed, he invited me to go over.
Wow.
To train with him there. It's a really good environment, nice people, good club. So he suggested, hey, why not you come over here? You compete in the US tournaments, kind of get, the coaches' eyes of the university coaches, because they do a lot of scouting there.
Yeah.
And so that's exactly what I did. I listened to his advice. And I also really wanted to go to the US anyway. So it was nice being with that, comfort person, because I've known him for a long time. And yeah, I just, carried on from there.
But it was scary, right? At that age, going away, your dad's just died. It must have been, but it's exciting.
Yeah, it was definitely nerve-wracking. Culturally, also Singaporean culture and American culture is very different.
Yeah.
I was very insecure about my accent, a lot of different things. Yeah, because a lot of them had never met a Singaporean in their life. They thought I was from China.
Where in China and Singapore?
Exactly. I've gotten that question several times, but I think I would call myself a pretty daring person, and without going to the US, I don't think I would have grown up as quickly as I did. So I was kind of forced to grow up faster than most people my age. I was thrown into totally new environment, and my idea of what America was solely through watching TV.
Yeah, of course.
So it was challenging, it was scary, but I'm grateful for that.
And which universities were initially on your radar? A few
always
good ones,
the
right?
University of Notre Dame.
Yeah,
I mean,
always.
I had Columbia and Harvard on my mind too, but I only visited one campus, and it was University of Notre Dame, and I fell in love with it. Yeah,
That was it.
immediately.
Done. Why?
Instantly.
I'm just curious.
I think first of all, because it's just a university in that area, so there weren't any distractions around, and also secondly, the head coach there, Gia. The first time I met him, I immediately felt a connection with him, and he emphasized the idea of family. As a team. So our team was huge. We had 65 people on the team.
That's difficult for people to comprehend.
For sure, but I also didn't have that team spirit environment growing up.
Yeah.
So for me, it was wow, this is really nice, because fencing is mainly an individual sport. There's also a team event, but most people consider it as an individual sport. So for me, it was being in that team environment where there was so many good people, and my role model went to that university. So
Who was your role model?
Lee Kiefer.
Okay.
Yeah. She's
Okay.
2-time Olympic gold medalist. Well, now 3.
And you competed against?
I competed against her in Tokyo.
Was that weird?
It was weird because she was also my teammate, from my club in the US.
Yeah.
And we trained the entire summer before the Olympics together, and then 2 weeks before we find out we were fencing each other. So we were may the best man win, and she won because she kicked my butt. So, kudos to her.
What did you study at uni?
Sociology.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the things that people don't realize, I think when you study abroad, especially in the US, everything changes because the people there are so much more engaging. Everyone talks at 120 decibels.
Yes.
It's very different.
Yeah.
When did your Olympic journey begin?
So my Olympic journey began in 2021. So it's kind of during COVID. Well, my Olympic journey has been my dream since I was young, but it really, really began when I qualified for the Olympics for the first time. And that was in 2021 during COVID.
You were already a gold medalist in the Southeast Asian Games then, right?
Yeah, I won my first gold medal in 2017.
Talk about that, because that's huge.
Yeah.
That can't be overlooked.
No, definitely not. So it's actually interesting because there was a SEA Games in 2015 in Singapore.
Yeah.
And I was a volunteer, rolling out the bags.
Really?
Yeah, in SEA Games here. I was looking at all these, my teammates at that time, my seniors. And I was wow, this is so cool. I really want to compete for SEA Games. And then I qualified for the one in 2017 in Malaysia, if I'm not wrong. And I won the gold medal there. And I was like, whoa, that's kind of cool. You know, like my first SEA Games winning a gold medal.
Were you favored to win, or were you an underdog?
I think I was one of the favorites, for sure.
Did you think you were like, what was your mentality going in? Did you think, look, this is mine to lose?
Yeah,
or?
no, this is mine to win.
Yeah, okay.
For sure. I never go in with the mindset that I'm going to lose. So for me, I was like, it's my first time, but I have nothing to lose, and I want to come back with a gold medal, and I did. It was good.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
It must have been surreal though.
It was surreal.
First looking at that medal.
It was nice because my sister, my mom, and my really good close family friend flew down. Okay. So it was nice to share that victory with them.
For sure. Yeah. So after that, then talk to us about Tokyo.
Yeah. So then, after that was the 2019 SEA Games, and then leading up to that, it was qualifying for Tokyo. So there are various ways of qualifying for Olympics. I won't go too deep into that, but basically, long story short, is that you can qualify directly by world ranking, or like there's this thing called like the continental qualification. So Asia, Europe, Africa, and the other continents. And only the person that wins that competition can qualify for Olympics.
Wow.
So even if you come in second, which is still really good, doesn't matter, you won't qualify. So it's really the last chance to qualify for the Olympic Games. And each country from that continent will send one representative to represent the country. So for Singapore, it was me. And I was competing against like Uzbekistan, Malaysia, Philippines, all these other countries.
A murderous row of fences, basically.
Yeah, for sure. And I only won by one touch to qualify for Olympics.
Wow.
So for me, that was extremely nerve-wracking. But
I'm just curious because, most people won't be able to relate to this. So I'll use an analogy. So say you're playing table tennis. Everyone's probably played table tennis.
Yeah.
Sometimes people play not to lose, very tentative, or play to win. When you've got that 1 point on the line, is your mentality, I'm all in, I'm going straight after this, or what are you thinking?
I mean, to be very honest, I think I kind of blacked out.
Well, it happened so quickly, right?
It happened so quickly. It was funny because I turned to my coach. It was 14-14, and I said, "Coach, what do I do?" And all he did was, that's exactly what he did. He was like, he didn't tell me advice on the moment. I was like, are you serious? Because if I lost, I would have wanted to put the blame on him. Yeah. Like, me being like a 20-year-old. But I really just trusted myself, and I went with my gut. And even though in the moment I kind of wasn't sure what I wanted to do, I just trusted my instinct, and it worked. And
you must have been just elated, right?
I was elated. Like, I fell to the floor. I couldn't control my emotions anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, usually I'm pretty expressive when I fence, but I rarely fall to my knees. So when I did, I knew that it was just such a relief. Yeah.
My favorite picture of you is you doing this.
Yeah.
after winning.
I tried to keep my mask on so you can't see my face. But yeah.
So then unpack, because Tokyo has got to be the most unusual Olympics ever.
Yeah. So it's like qualifying for the Olympics for the first time, but also doing it during COVID. That was definitely interesting because even sitting in front of my teammate, to have a meal, we had a kind of a partition in front of us. So it was a bit weird. But honestly, I must say that Japan did a great job at hosting the Olympics during COVID. As much as it felt like it was COVID, we didn't really feel like it was not an Olympics, With the chemistry was still there, the atmosphere was still them, making sure that we were part of the Olympic Games. For example, if we were in a bus on the way to venue, there'll be passerbys just standing there with flags. Wow. Okay. So it was nice. The environment was still really, really nice. The food was great. So
what did that be? Because I've heard Usain Bolt say that he always eats chicken McNuggets when he's at the Olympics because he knows that he won't get any stomach bugs from it or whatever. What were they serving in Tokyo?
They served a lot of sushi, actually.
They did?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the sushi was probably one of the best foods that they had there. But honestly, I have no problems. No problems with the food there.
No problems.
Yeah.
What about, so when you're there, is it a time warp? Because the branding was actually for the original year the Olympics was meant to be. So it's time warp, everything is a bit unusual.
So it was interesting because I took the year off to qualify for Olympics from school, the year that it was supposed to happen.
Okay.
And then COVID came about, and then they postponed the Olympics. So for me, it was I actually qualified while I was in school again because I wasn't going to take 2 years off. It definitely kind of it kind of hit my progress a little bit. I mean, not progress, but like, because I was, you plan for how the Olympic Games is going to happen. You plan on how your qualification is going to work. And then something comes about, and it's not just like, oh, it's postponed by 1 month. It's postponed by a whole year.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of sit down with my coaches and be like, okay, let's see how I'm going to plan this properly while trying to maintain like my, university education. So it was a little bit challenging, but we made it work. And yeah.
But the other thing I really want to just congratulate you on, it's you're not just navigating, your profession of becoming, an Olympian.
Yeah.
You're navigating university. So if you don't mind, just some questions. Did you the family have to fund your trip your time in the US? Or did you have some sponsorship?
I was fortunate to get a scholarship in my university, but it wasn't a full scholarship. So yeah, my family had to fund quite a hefty amount.
And then what's that process like? Did you apply? Did you know that there was a possibility, or they came to you?
Yeah, so I got scouted by the head coach of University Notre Dame. We actually were in contact since I was like 15.
Okay.
But then he followed my progress, and then I reached out to him obviously, and then he reciprocated. And then after that, we just kept in touch. And when it was time for me to apply for university, he immediately accepted my offer.
The reason why I ask is because a lot of parents and young athletes, they won't know about this side of things. So like my wife, she got a Fulbright scholarship, and I think they paid for about 30%, right? And then through her PhD was fully sponsored by NUS, but she's bonded for 5 years.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people, they always think of sponsorship maybe as a financial hardship. It might not be. It's often based on merit, all right? And I think if you get that, it says a lot about what you're able to do.
Yeah. I mean, I was very fortunate because like I mentioned, there was like 65 people on our team, and only less than 10 receive scholarships every year.
Tell us about the NCAAs and how competitive, because that in itself is like a mini Olympics, right?
Yes, NCAAs it's fierce. It's a very fierce competition. So there are about 22 people in each category, each gender, and you have to fence all of them. 5 points, and only the final 4 qualify for the...
Only 5 points?
Yeah. So for the first 21 bouts or so, it's only 5 points. And then for the last 4 that qualify, you fence each other 15 to decide who the national champion is.
So the margin of error in those 5 points
is very limited. But also at the same time, like, you could be losing 4-1, come back 4-4, and then win 5-4.
But don't you find typically though in a match, there are ebbs and flows in a 15-point game, but but in a 5-point match, it could be over quite quickly if you're not on the right trajectory.
Yeah, so you have to master the art of, really being precise in that 5-point bout, because anybody can be anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no room for error, like you said.
So going back to Tokyo, walk us through what that experience was like when you were walking out for the first time to compete.
Yeah, honestly, it was surreal. Even though spectators were not allowed, it was still the Olympics. I knew that people were watching me. I really wanted to do my country proud, and no better person to kind of like do my first Tokyo experience other than Lee. She was my teammate. And even though I didn't win, I still was really proud of myself for how hard I fought, how hard I trained prior to the Olympics. I think people need to remember it's not just that, one moment. In fencing in the Olympics, we don't get second chances. If you lose your first match, you're out. So there's no group stage. It's very cutthroat. But I knew that was what I was getting into. And I was just proud of myself for the work that I put in, the effort that, I put in every day.
It's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. And I think people tend to forget that sometimes, but I reminded myself of that. My family, my support system was really strong. So, yeah.
I do find that the general public, they overlook what a challenge. Think about this. If you take yourself back to sports day, right? And there's a sprint.
Yeah.
Okay, so everyone that can walk can run. Okay, so how many people won that? One person. Yeah. Now you get to the next level, and to become an Olympian, you're amongst the best of the best.
Yeah.
So that's so tough.
It is tough. It's not easy, and I think people need to give more credit to those that qualify.
100%.
It's a long journey. It's a lot of years of sacrifice.
Yeah.
And I mean, for the most part, I feel like a huge support from Singaporeans in general. So truly grateful for that.
So after Tokyo, did you then think, okay, I need to sit back, recalibrate, or did you know, okay, now the next 4 years or 3 years begins?
No, I definitely needed to calibrate. Okay. So it was during COVID again, post-Olympics, I came back home. So I was confined to a hotel room for 2 weeks alone. It was really difficult on me mentally, because
Wow.
when you hit an all-time high, after that it just kind of like
Bang.
hit rock bottom. So for me, being locked in a room, not being able to go out, get fresh air was tricky. It was another test of my mental strength, to
Yeah.
say the least. But I think it also gave me time to sit down and think if I really wanted to continue and shoot for another 4 years. Actually, it was 3 years. It wasn't 4 years,
3
because it was
years.
2021.
Correct,
You know.
correct, yeah.
But yeah, it was not easy at all. But I managed to get myself together. Be vulnerable with my support system, my family, and see if I wanted to do this. And I knew that I had their support regardless if I was going to continue or not. So that helped.
What does that introspective thought process look like? Like, for example, do you sit down and say, okay, if I do this, this is what it looks like? You know, do you write the pros and cons down, or you just, you sleep on it? And
No, writing things down definitely helped. So like, creating kind of like a mind map of like, okay, if I continue, what do I have to do? If I don't continue, what am I going to pursue? Having the guidance of like mentors and coaches are very crucial. And I've been blessed to have like several mentors in my life, or people that have been on a similar journey that can advise me what to do. So that helped me in making my decision. Yeah.
I'm curious, because I've got 3 kids, and what I find is that one's confidence when competing in sport goes up and down and up and down. And I think that the role of coaches is so important. But I've got to be candid. I find that there are very few people that care, because this is my take. So say there are 20 young athletes, 1 or 2 might get to that next level.
Yes.
But I think coaches have a responsibility for all of those students to help them win, lose, or draw, to encourage, because you're trying to develop young human beings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I find that, sport is brutal. So, for example, when my son was boxing, whether his friends would win, lose, or draw, the same with him, I would always say, congratulations.
Yeah.
Keep your chin up and send them a note. And I feel that that's often missing.
Yes. I agree. I think it can be really cutthroat sometimes. I think, well, I know this for myself. I mean, fortunately, I've had coaches that aren't like that.
Yeah.
But there's a certain line. I think being tough on your student, it is important sometimes,
Yes.
because they need somebody to push them, but also understanding that they are human beings, like you mentioned, and they have life outside of sport.
Yeah.
So you want to instill good characteristics and traits in them, so that when they pass on and when they become a coach themselves, they're teaching their students the right things.
The right way.
So being a good influence in your students' life is never an easy task, because coaches want to win as much as you do.
Yeah.
But also understanding like, hey, life is not just about sport. There's life beyond sport, and you're human first. So what values you hold as a person are actually more important than being like an Olympic gold medalist with the worst character out there.
I love that. So well said. Talk about that whole internal dialect you're having with yourself. Like, are you saying to yourself, "Come on, you can do it," or are you rallying yourself? What's your approach to everything?
I like to like hype myself up. So like more like positive words of affirmation. Sometimes I'm also pretty hard on myself, but I think it's for just some momentary hard thing. My coach, he's Ukrainian, and his English is not like the best, so sometimes he's like, "You are a masochist," and I'm like, "Coach," he's like, stop like killing yourself on the strip, like stop being so harsh on yourself, like if you score a touch and you don't really like how that touch looks, it's okay, you still got the point, try to work from it from there. So I think being nice to myself has helped me quite a fair bit, and also understanding that it's just a journey and this is not my whole life, and my results don't define me has what helped me a lot.
Because that pressure, I can't imagine. It's such a fine line, right? One of the other things is like my 16-year-old daughter, she's a great athlete, and in many ways she's a hero of mine, because I see what she's battling, and I've said to her, look, sometimes there's a lot to learn from being the best player on the worst team, or the worst player on the best team, right? When you were going through this journey, did your mom and your dad, did they believe more in you than you did in yourself, or were you always leading the charge?
I definitely my mom and dad, for sure. I think without their guidance and also them pushing me and being kind of a little bit like tiger parents when I was younger, helped me get
Tell me about that, because I'm really curious. Like, how did they drive this?
So I would have to like journal like after every competition or sit down and discuss with them. Sometimes, me being like a little 10, 11-year-old did not want to talk about how the competition went if I lost.
Yeah.
But in the car, they'd be like, what do you think went wrong? Having those conversations with my parents helped me grow up as an athlete really quick, because it helps you reflect. Reflecting on your competition is super important. And honestly, like losing was what helped me grow way more than winning. Because when you win, everybody's happy. Like, let's go get McDonald's like after competition, whatnot. Not that I didn't after I lost, but it's more of like, okay, well now I have to sit and talk to my parents about what went wrong. And yeah, without that and without having these like important conversations, I don't think like I would have grown mentally as an athlete either. So that's what they would do when I was younger. Yeah.
Do you because one of the things that, again, I talk to my kids about, knowing what I now know, which I didn't at their age, is it's an entire process. There's a whole ecosystem goes with it, from your sleep to your nutrition, your strength and conditioning. But the thing that's often overlooked is, I think, two things. I think studying what it is that you are doing, watching the best people, maybe filming yourself. So I want to ask you all these questions, and then the mental warfare that goes with it.
Yes.
Talk to me about those two things, the technique and the studying of it, and the mental game.
Yeah, I think now that I'm also older and I've been in the sport for a long time, we focus a lot on like the little fine-tuning, the mistakes that we can, fine-tune. So basically videotaping myself in competitions, seeing if like I'm pulling my arm back too much, or like the little technical aspects of it. Because right now at this stage of my career, yes, it's about technique, but it's also about like a lot of mental tenacity and strength. And when you go to the Olympics, everybody is essentially of a certain caliber. So what removes somebody from the other person is how you cope under pressure, how you deal with certain situations. And that's why I'm working closely with like psychologists now, and strength and conditioning. It's like, okay, these little things can come a long way and really help you get the edge over your opponent.
When did you start working with a psychologist?
I've been working with psychologists for a long time, since I was 15.
Wow.
Really young. And
that's so important for people, because people they overlook this part of the game.
They overlook that, but it's actually really huge. And fencing, for me, I like to tell people, it's like physical chess. It's a very physical sport for sure. You have to have a lot of stamina, but also at the same time, it's like boxing.
Yeah.
You can train as much as you want. You can be the fastest, strongest fencer out there. That doesn't guarantee you a win, because you can't control how the opponent's going to do. I could kick you right now and you're not going to expect that, right?
Yeah.
But so it's like learning how to adapt in very tight, uncomfortable situations is what, defines like the number 1 from the number 16. Yeah, and that's why I'm working on right now, really learning how to fine-tune these things. And it's kind of like a sport where the older you are, the more experience you get and the better you get, really. There are people that really peak very young, but for the most part, the older you are, the more experience you have, and you know how to deal with these situations because you've done it for several years. So yeah.
What for strength and conditioning, what I was thinking about in the lead up to today was there's probably a finite balance, because if you do too much strength work, you probably get too muscular, too heavy, right?
Yeah.
If you don't do enough, you're not going to be dynamic. You might have injuries.
Yeah.
How do you fine tune that balance?
So it's finding the balance, like you said. I work closely with my strength coach. I just recently changed coach to his name is Farzad. Came from the US, worked with several NHL teams. Fencing was the first time he's ever worked. I mean, fencing is like the new sport for him.
Okay.
So what helped him was he actually traveled with us internationally, saw how like my competitors, they were moving, how they were warming up, and incorporated that into our like warm up and training in Singapore. So he had a plan for us like prior to seeing all these competitions, and then when he went to these competitions, came back, he fine-tuned our program. And that's what I really like about him, because that's how you know that a trainer is good, because they know how to adapt. It's not just the strict like bench, deadlift, like all the generic things. So it's like, okay, let's incorporate like fencing footwork into our warm-up today, or let's do some like balance, let's work on your core. I think that's really important, because having a team that supports you as much as you support yourself is very crucial.
Yeah.
And him having the experience that he has like in the US was comfortable for me, because I worked with a strength and conditioning coach in the US for all my university years. So it was, he had a plan for me, but he was also open to hearing like what I needed and what I felt that I needed to be stronger in.
So important.
Yeah, it's very important, like communication and that teamwork.
Because what I find is, like, if you go to a regular gym, most of the personal trainers are like ex-bodybuilders.
Yes.
But they're not necessarily sports people, so they won't understand, because you've got to have that dynamic, movement, stamina, and flexibility. So it's different.
Yeah.
So what are some of your favorite strength and conditioning drills?
I love a good bench press.
Really? On a flat bench?
Yeah, on a flat bench.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's very generic, but I like it, when you like can add that additional, even if it's like 0.5 kg on there, you feel like you make a difference. But I'm a huge like agility person. So I like doing like agility drills, power, speed, explosive movements. So like, deadlift, but with like resistant bands, so make it more challenging, stuff like that.
Don't you think bands are so underrated? They're becoming more rated now, but in terms of stretching, warming up.
Yeah, very important. Even like warm-up games, standing in front of a teammate, trying to maintain balance while trying to push your teammate, making her off balance. Little things like that is what, I like.
Have you had any major injuries over the years?
I wouldn't call it major. I've sprained a couple of ankles. Right now I'm dealing with a little bit of a wrist injury. It's a little irritating because, we have to hold our weapon.
You're left-handed? I'm
left-handed, yeah. And prior to Olympics, I was dealing with a knee injury, so that was interesting.
Have you analyzed how being left-handed helps you?
Not really. People do say that being left-handed has an advantage. I try not to listen to that, but I do agree, because it's very rare to find left-handed fencers. So finding one in training, like to train with in general, is not very common. But as much as a disadvantage for right-handers to fence, it's a disadvantage for left-handers to fence left-hander. Yeah. So just gotta learn and adapt. Yeah, roll with it.
What's interesting, my daughter's left-handed, and I could try to analyze it, because I think my dad probably was left-handed, but back in the day, you're forced to be right-handed.
Yes.
But what I found is some of the very best sports people are left-handed, and I'm not saying just because it's different, but I think the way the brain works is different.
I agree totally.
And they're almost, because you're using one hand, but in a lot of sports, ambidextrous.
Yeah.
So do you find like you might be stronger with your right hand, or able to kick
my
better?
right hand is completely useless.
Really?
Yeah. I strictly do everything with my left. It's actually really bad. I can catch a ball with my right, but that's about it.
I've got to tell you this one thing, so the one thing I learned was flat bench press. It's brilliant, but it comes with problems. Because I was lifting years ago with my own ego in the gym, and I was bench pressing 140 kg, including the bar.
Yeah.
And I'd done it before, and then my shoulder dislocated. I tore the pec off my bone, all these injuries. And the other thing is, in Singapore, because it happened here. None of the doctors were familiar with that type of problem. They kept saying it was my shoulder. And I actually had it operated on about 1.5, 2 years ago, but 10 years after the incident. And it was a real...
Wow, that's a long
So I had to get the pec reattached, had to have a tendon put in. So the other thing I was going to ask you is, because Singapore is still a new country and sports is not in the fabric of society, how difficult was that? Because if you grow up in the US...
Yeah.
Sport is accepted, it's embraced, it's pushed.
Yeah.
Here, not so.
Yeah, there definitely were my struggles. But like I said, I think I was very lucky to have that aspect of my parents pushing me when I was young. My dad's French, so having a different kind of like mindset, like from the European side of things, he himself was like a judo athlete. So
was he?
Yeah, he was. So he did he did sports himself, and so did my mom. My mom ran track in Singapore. So they were aware. When I was a kid, you don't think of these things. You don't think of like the long run. You just think of the moment, okay, I'm going to training today. I want to have fun, hitting people's swords. But they knew that my sister and I had something special. So they didn't want to like kind of put that talent to waste. So they did their own research. They talked to my coach, who, like I mentioned, was the Olympic silver medalist at that time.
Yeah.
And having the experience and expertise of people from other countries was what really helped me realize that I need to get out of this environment in order to really get better, at least when I was younger. Right now, sports is growing, really rapidly in Singapore. The environment that we have is almost becoming one where most people are at high level are coming to train here.
Yeah.
Our resources and facilities are amazing. For fencing, at least for me, I can only speak for myself. It's more of the sparring. So I need constant sparring with people that are like way better than I am, because I can only learn and grow when I'm losing.
That's got to be hard for you to find that, right?
Yeah, I mean, in Singapore, it's definitely a bit challenging. But like I said, it's improving. People are getting stronger day by day, but also it's because we've been going outside to fence more. So that's helped us.
Talk about your dad, Eric.
Yeah.
Eric's my middle name.
Oh,
That's why I remember his name so well.
Yeah.
It must have been a full circle moment where you went to compete in France, where he was born. Your grandparents still live there?
Yeah. My grandparents live in Lyon.
Okay.
So the competition was in Paris, but it definitely was a full circle moment. My aunt, who's my dad's only sibling, she had an emotional moment, as did all of us. My mom, my sister, my siblings. I think for me, it hit me after the competition rather than before or during.
Because you're focused.
I was so focused. And I was thinking, okay, how would he have felt if he was in the venue right now? And all I could think about was just him being so proud of me. So
he would have been.
Yeah.
It made me start crying.
Yeah.
When I watched you, I was just in awe of what you were doing and the event. We talked about it off camera. Talk to me a little bit about Paris, because it looked amazing.
Yeah, it was so surreal. Our competition venue was in the Grand Palais, so one of the most beautiful venues in the Paris Olympics and in general.
Yeah.
It was surreal because we also could have spectators there. So comparing my experience from Tokyo to Paris was a huge jump. Seeing my family in the stands, I actually looked up at them right before, I started competing, and that was really awesome. I don't know, it was just a feeling that you can't really explain unless you were there on the fencing pits in the venue yourself.
I can't even imagine.
And I'll never forget that feeling, hearing people cheer for me, not even Singaporeans, just seeing me. It was nice, and that's what I love about sports, that it brings everybody together, regardless of where you come from.
Yeah, it's amazing. So were your mum, brother and sister there?
Yeah, my entire family was there. Even my dad's really close family friend came down from London and just to support me, so it was nice.
Now in your match, it was very competitive. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So it was a really close match for the most part, and then I was leading 12-9.
Yeah.
And then I lost 15-13. So I discussed with my coach right after, the first thing he was like, why did you release her? And obviously it wasn't my intention to release my opponent. I think that's really what I mentioned before, the itch of really in tricky situations and uncomfortable situations, who gets the upper hand. And I have to give it to my opponent. She really caught me in the last couple of points. I didn't change in fast enough. And yeah, I still have a little bit of regret on what I could have done, but you can only go back on how you fence in the moment, and I'm proud of myself. I'll give it my best.
And look, let's be real. She's a very dynamic athlete.
Oh yeah, she is for sure. She definitely was more explosive. I think strategically, maybe I had the upper hand for most of the bout, and that was the goal going in, because she's one of the fittest on the circuit.
Yeah.
She went on and won the silver medal that day, so it's not too shabby for my second Olympic experience.
That's got to be at the back of your mind. You can't think about it too much, but because I remember watching her and I thought, wow, you're about it, and she was heavily favored, to do really well.
For sure, yeah. Her world ranking was higher than me going in, but like I said, that didn't matter to me, because on that day I really wanted to perform my best and show this is what I've got, this is all I've got, going to give 100%. Yeah. And even though I was disappointed in not being able to win, I fenced beautifully, in my opinion. And
yes, you did.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about that was you got to see what two dynamic women are like in terms of aggressive, competitive. Yeah. I mean, it was. I could feel the tension.
Can't get more than that.
It was fierce, right?
It was fierce for sure. Yeah, but we are friends off the piss.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did not hold back in that moment. Yeah.
So talk to me about what's next now. What are you going to be doing now?
Yeah. So short term, I'm flying to Vancouver this Saturday for a competition.
Okay.
I'm kind of mid-season right now. My season ends in July, after the World Championships. I'm planning, to train for Asian Championships, World Championships, and then we have SEA Games at the end of the year this year.
It's a big year.
And next year it will be Asian Games. So it's kind of back-to-back competitions. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, seeing how things go.
As you've mapped this out, what do you think? How long are you going to continue to compete?
So my goal is to compete and qualify in the LA 2028 Games.
I love it.
Yeah. So I have decided to continue, pursue one more Olympic cycle. Hopefully that'll be my third, and hopefully I can get on the podium. That's the goal.
Amazing.
So yeah.
When you're considering this, because obviously you are giving up the prime years of your life right? And you're from a very studious family, right? You could go on to do many different things. Your siblings are doing really well. Is that a consideration, or you've in your mind, no, I'm so focused on this, I haven't even thought about those options?
I've definitely considered what I want to do post, retirement. But it's also always going to be in the sports scene.
I love it.
You know,
It's in your blood, right?
Yeah, it's in my blood, and I feel responsible, a kind of responsibility to give back to the sporting community in Singapore. It being so small, and me also having the experience that I have, it would almost feel like an injustice if I didn't give back. But right now, I'm not thinking about that.
You got to stay focused.
Got to stay focused. I'm trying to give back here and there when I can, give advice, a little mentoring. That's simple, that's easy. But yeah, working corporately right now is not on my mind.
Good for you.
Yeah.
When you were asked to be a flag bearer for Singapore, how did that feel?
It was surreal, it kind of just felt like all my years of hard work finally came to fruition.
Yeah.
It was nice that they chose me. I immediately took the offer, and being there, seeing myself on the screen, obviously my family recording.
Is it heavy to flag? Do you have to kind of balance it out?
Thankfully, I was with a guy that was rather strong, so I just kind of really didn't hold much of it. But yeah, it was nice.
When you trying to get advice now, do you speak to people that are not from your sport, like Joseph Schooling? I know you're friends with him.
Yeah.
How do you seek counsel from other people that have been there, done that?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because I have, like I mentioned, Lee is a huge role model of mine in my sport. But I do chat with, for example, Joseph, or this MMA fighter. I don't know if you know him, Superbond.
Yeah.
He's really.
How do you know him?
We just kind of met through a friend on Instagram.
Really?
And then I met up with him in person in New York because he was there for a camp.
He's an amazing fighter.
He's an amazing fighter. I met him actually when I was in New York right after he got a black eye. And he's not one that loses very much. So meeting him right after a loss and learning, my first question to him was like, how do you cope, with a loss, and knowing that, so many people are criticizing you right now. And his mentality is just amazing, and being able to have that one-on-one conversation with people like him, Joseph, or others out there, really pushes me to become a better athlete and human in general. Because you see these people as like amazing, athletes with such huge accomplishments, but then you realize that they're also just humans.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's a good reality check, because I'm like, I put so much pressure on myself. Sometimes I feel pressure from others. And you just realize that, life, like I mentioned, there's so much more life beyond sport, and chatting with athletes that go through the same things as you, or, even higher level athletes, helps me bring myself back to like, hey, okay, I'm stressing about things I shouldn't stress about, and how do I move on from this?
It's interesting because I just did a podcast, I haven't released it, with John Wayne Parr, who's 10-time multi-world champion. And, boxing nowadays, like Floyd Mayweather, he's never lost a fight, but he's handpicked a lot of fights and he's been very selective. But in certain sports, losing is just like, if you play football, you lose games.
Yeah.
I think like Roger Federer, I think he only won like 52% of the points that he ever played.
Yeah.
And he's one of the all-time tennis greats. And what I think is overlooked is it's almost inevitable in sport. And the truth is, if you're winning all the time, you're probably competing against the wrong people.
Yeah.
But in your level of competition, there's nowhere to hide.
Yeah.
What about, I'm curious about you financially getting through all of this. You have sponsorships, but because that's not easy to navigate, right?
Definitely not. I mean, so I'm fortunately sponsored by the Singapore Sports Institute. Well, not like I'm on a scholarship basis with them. Without their support, it will be really challenging, because fencing is also a very expensive sport. Like one blade costs about $200.
Really?
Yeah. So,
really? And how many blades will you go through?
A year, like maybe over 20.
Wow.
Yeah. So it is quite, and it's not just the blades. We have, the whole suit and everything.
Yeah.
So having their support has helped me tremendously.
How much does the suit cost?
Like one jacket could cost about like 200. Okay. Just the top, and then the bottom around like 150, same price.
Are you for the Olympics, for example? Are you given a standard one, or the Olympic Committee says, okay, each country has their own, but they'll vet it?
Well, it depends on the brand that you choose. So within the fencing community itself, they have different brands. So All Star Woman, I'm sponsored by All Star.
Okay.
But actually, because when you compete on the Olympic stage, you're not supposed to show sponsors.
Yeah.
So they just kind of tape it up when they do when they check our equipment, but they don't. We're not given like equipment by them.
You're probably too young to remember this, but when I was growing up, my favorite cartoon was D'Artagnan and the Three Musketeers, which was all in. Was based in France, and you know it's. Have you ever seen it?
No, I've seen the Three Musketeers, but not yet.
That's classic. So, okay, let's fast forward. When you get past and you get on the podium, do you think you'll end up in coaching or?
For sure, 100%. Coaching, mentoring, giving back to the community, youth development in sports in general is the direction that I'm leading into.
I love that. I love that. I've got some rapid fire questions for you. Are you ready to rock and roll?
Yes.
So, what are the 3 words that best describe you as a competitor?
Resilience, compassion, and drive.
Drive. Yeah. That's got to be there, right?
Yeah.
On that note, do you think discipline or drive is more important?
Oh, it's a good question. Discipline. Yeah.
People overlook that. I always say discipline equals freedom.
Yeah.
Because to be disciplined means you do things when you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Who's the hardest opponent you've ever faced?
Lee Kiefer.
I knew you were going to say that.
Hands down.
Yeah.
Not just because she's my role model. She's really difficult to fence, but yeah.
I was going to ask you, so like in boxing, they always say styles make fights. So in fencing, let's just say you can beat me, but I can beat Lee.
Yeah.
Lee can beat. Does that happen?
Very often.
Yeah.
So it's like you said, like it's a sport where anybody can beat anybody, and that's just because somebody beats Lee doesn't mean that I can beat her. If I beat Lee, somebody else can beat her. That's not how it works.
Do you have any smack talk away from like secretly? Do you like say I'm gonna whoop you? Or there's none of that.
Well, not to Lee because I have huge respect for her, but to my friends I definitely do.
Do you?
Lee's my friend too, but that's that respect, and she's older than me. Asian culture, you don't kind of
absolutely.
do that.
I love it. Favorite fencing competition city?
Paris. Yeah. I think after the Grand Palais, it's gonna be difficult.
I don't know.
Away.
You'd have to be, up in space on a platform or something. Go to pre-match rituals. Do you have any?
Yeah, visualization, meditation, listening to my music. Getting myself to finding that balance between being hyped and also staying calm.
Do you have like a walkout song in your mind that you're going out to playing in?
Yeah, I listen to this song called "Money Longer" by Lil Uzi Vert. So it's kind of Gen Z song.
Okay, so that's what floats your boat, right?
Yeah.
Favorite fencing move or technique? If you
called Six Flick.
What is that?
So like my opponent lunge at me and I'll take the blade and kind of like whack her on the shoulder right here. It's my favorite. Yeah.
So you're not just a masochist, you're a sadist.
I am a sadist.
I love it. Most unforgettable match?
Qualifying for the Tokyo Olympics. Yeah.
All the pressure was on.
All the pressure was on.
I can't even imagine. What's one fencing habit that you can't break?
So I always like kind of fix my glove in between the bouts, in between each point, just kind of to like recalibrate and be like, okay, what am I going to do next? Kind of just take a little seconds to myself.
Yeah. Getting that little moment, that time.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not like, it's just like a quick fix and readjusting my grip.
In between points, do you got a second countdown, or do you sometimes like take a few extra moments just to...
There isn't typically a specific second countdown, but usually you walk back to the line and then the referee's like, okay, are you ready?
Reset.
Yeah.
Amazing. One inspiring coach moment that you've had?
It was in the 2017 Junior Cadet World Championships where I had won my bronze medal. My coach, he told me actually before I won the bronze medal, like, you've won it. You just have to stay cool, calm, collected, and believe in yourself. Yeah, and then I went on to win bronze that day. And
beautiful.
Recently, he actually told me that, and I didn't know this, that when he saw how I fenced my first bout, he went out the venue and started crying because he knew I was going to be on the podium. He didn't tell me that until like a couple months ago. So that was 2017. So it was nice to hear that.
It's very difficult, by the way, because like when in particular with my son with boxing, because there are repercussions. I go from wearing my dad hat to boxing coach hat, and it's not easy.
Yeah.
What's the one medal that means the most to you? You've won a few.
This is a tricky question because there's a couple. I would say my top 2 would be qualifying for the one that I want to qualify for Tokyo for sure, and my first ever World Championship medal when I was 16.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are two huge
was that the World Cup?
milestones. That was World Championships.
World Championships.
Yeah, World Championships.
Okay. If you could relive any one day of your career, what would it be and why?
You're going to be very tired of hearing this answer, but it was definitely qualifying for Tokyo.
No, but it's a seminal moment.
It was just a moment that I can't really explain. It was just like a huge sense of relief, and also because it was my first time ever qualifying, and also first time for Singapore fencing in general. And the first thought that went to my head was, I wish my dad could have seen this moment. And I think that's why it's, my favorite competition ever.
Do you think a lot of people don't understand the difference between winning versus being relieved? Because they're both linked, but it's funny. A lot of athletes I know talk about the relief because there's so much pressure.
Yes. I think that's a very good point. I think there's a huge difference there. I've won many matches in my life, but the sense of relief that I got when I qualified for the first time and fell to my knees, it's really an experience that I can't explain. And that's just when you just like feel like everything was released from your body and all stress is gone because you're like, I did it,
Talking of that, do you do regular physio?
Yeah, almost like every other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a bit older now, so I have to.
More tweaks. But that's where a big chunk of money goes.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Do you have a regular therapist?
Yeah, in Sports Singapore, so it's all covered, thankfully.
Yeah. That's the thing. If I was a professional athlete now, I would have, wherever I go, I would have my therapist with me.
Yeah. 100%. It's very important for them to travel with us.
Okay, so in terms of best lifts and exercise in the gym, like weights, I'm just curious, like when you're bench pressing, you're probably not doing 1 rep maxes, right?
No.
So are you doing like sets of 10?
No, we do like sets of 6.
Okay, so what's your best for 6 on each of the main compound movements?
I have to do the math right now. Give me a second. Think about this.
Go and calibrate it. You should know this.
I think my PB, it's really like compared to you, but it's close to 15.
Okay.
All really in. Bad for you.
No.
But yeah.
No, but
it's like consecutive reps, so like 3 max.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 sets.
And then squat, deadlift?
I don't keep track of that. But deadlift the other day with resistance band, I did like 86.
Really?
With the resistance.
Yeah, so that makes it a lot more explosive.
Way more explosive and difficult, yeah.
Go-to cheap meal?
McSpicy.
McSpicy.
Like Singaporean McSpicy.
All day long.
Oh, not all day long, but yeah, once in a while when I'm gone for months. Yeah.
Favorite hobby outside of fencing that you like to do?
So I like to play football occasionally with my friends, tennis, and then also chess because I'm really bad at it, but like I like it a lot. Yeah.
Do you have to be cautious because you don't want to damage that sacred hand and wrist? So you're probably thinking, I can't like playing tennis, for example, you could injure yourself.
Yeah, so I'm careful. I don't go like super competitive when I do it. It's more of just like getting, into it. I've been following tennis quite a lot recently. I really love Carlos Alcaraz and all these people. Yeah, I love the way that they play. So I'm not trying to like imitate them. I definitely couldn't. But just like as a hobby, yeah.
Outside of this is just left field, but outside of fencing, who are your top 3 favorite athletes of all time?
Muhammad Ali, Serena Williams, and Sha'Carri Richardson.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's interesting? Why so Sha'Carri?
Yeah.
How come you like Sha'Carri? A lot of people don't even know she is, right? Unless you're on track and field.
Yeah. No, I've been following her for the longest time.
She's a beast.
She's a beast, and her mindset is tremendous. Yeah.
Yeah.
The things that she had to go through and how she broke through in the adversity and stuff, and she's amazing.
Have you met any of these guys?
No. I was really hoping I would have met Sha'Carri in the Olympics.
Yeah.
I met Tara Davis, who's long jumper. She's married
amazing.
to a hunter.
Yeah. Do you follow their channel?
I follow the channel, and she's a lovely person.
Listen, when she's wearing her Texas cowboy boots and hat, I'm all about that. But what really impresses me about her, if you look at her pound for pound dynamism, because she's short.
Yeah.
And,
she's shorter than me. When I took a photo with her, I was like, oh, and I met Tom Daly too. So Tom Daly's up there, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. But the other thing is, like Serena Williams, when she had some of her outcries, and she can be, quite temperamental.
Yeah.
And I just don't think people understand to be the best of the best. You're an outlier. You think differently. You want to kill your competitors in that moment.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
She's just built differently.
Yeah.
I just think she's just as you said, all-time great.
Yeah.
Book, movie, podcast that you go to like to inspire yourself.
Yeah. So I've recently been reading this book called Mastery by Robert Greene.
Okay, talk to me about
My
that.
mentor gave it to me. He's the club owner of my club in Singapore.
Okay.
And we had he invited me for a workshop and a fireside chat and had gifted me a bouquet of flowers along with the book. And I really like the book a lot because it's, basically you're the master of your craft and you're in control of your life in the direction that you want to go.
I love
and
it.
it was really nice, and it was a good time that he gave me that book because, again, it was, post-Olympic, you go all-time high and you hit a low. Having that book has helped me kind of get myself together in the direction that I want to go in, and also post-Olympic, seeing how I want to give back. And,
I think that's so important. When I coach people, I always say to them, the first thing you have to do is master yourself.
Yeah.
If you can't master yourself and what your dreams and ambitions and how you deal with problems, you can't do anything.
No.
You have to work on yourself first,
For
right?
sure.
In outside of sport, who is your biggest inspiration?
I would have to go with Serena still.
Really?
Yeah. Well, after my mom.
I was going to say.
Outside of sport, yeah,
No, no.
sorry, after
No, no,
sport.
outside of
My
sport.
mother, my mother.
So tell me about your mum and and some of what she's doing now, but what she used to do.
Yeah, so she used to work for the National Art Gallery in Singapore. She was a historian herself.
Is she born and raised in Singapore or?
She was born in Malacca.
Okay.
But she moved when she was maybe 2 or 3 years old.
Okay.
So she basically lived her whole life in Singapore. My mom, she's a really strong woman. Many people know her, that will be the first word that they would say about her. Losing, your husband at such a
And raising 3 kids.
raising 4 kids.
4 kids?
Yeah, 4 kids.
They're 4.
Yeah.
I didn't realize. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not an easy feat, and she kind of had to pick up. She didn't really have time to grieve because she had to be there for us as a kids, young kids.
Yeah.
So watching her grow as a mom, dealing with her grief, being there for us, supporting us while taking care of herself, I don't know if I could have handled myself the way that she did. So not just because of my dad, but in every aspect in her life that she carries herself, she's truly strong, independent woman. So
I love that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. What are the 3 things that most people in the general public may not know about you that you'd like them to know?
So I love to cook, even though I'm terrible at it.
Really?
But I have a huge passion for it. Recently, I've been watching Hell's Kitchen. Love Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah.
Wish I could be as talented as these chefs. But so I like to cook.
What's your favorite few dishes at the moment that you enjoy?
I love scallops,
Okay.
lobster, seafood.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're going. That's why it's not easy. You can
It's
mess
not
those
easy.
dishes
It's so
up.
difficult. It's very easy to make it raw
Yeah.
and undercooked. I am an avid fan of crime documentaries.
Really? Me too.
Right?
Yeah. What are you watching at the moment?
At the moment, right now, nothing.
There's a documentary, but there's also a TV show with a lady that plays Meredith Grey about this young girl that had dwarfism and was supposedly.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
What's the name of
I
it?
can't remember, but I'm
And
watching.
she
it with
faked her age.
Yeah,
and all that,
we don't know what's real or what's not real,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so I often watch those with my 2 daughters, and it always freaks them out. And then they'll cuddle me, which I love, right? So
yeah.
I play a bit too much.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's
And,
good.
Yeah, the third thing would be playing chess. So I'm also not good at that either, but I don't know, I told you, fencing is like physical chess.
100%.
And even though I'm not great at it, when I play with my friend, now you can do everything through a device, so you
Yeah.
don't have to be in front of that person. I like to go back old school, and my dad actually got me a Napoleon chessboard, so the
Oh,
French
really?
versus the British, and I pulled it out the other day and I played it with my friends, and it's really cool. Yeah.
What a lovely idea.
Yeah.
I think that's now when you look back at your career thus far. Tell me about 2 or 3 things, because I want to learn this as a parent, where your mum and your dad and your siblings have been very supportive, because without them in your corner,
Yeah.
everything would be very different, right?
Family and having a support system is very important, especially in any level in sports, but especially for me, speaking from my experience at high level. So I was away for a long time, and during COVID it was really difficult because I couldn't come back to Singapore. They would send me care packages, they would, words just nice text here and there, hey, just checking in, how are you?
Was a packet of Maggie Mee noodles in the care package?
There was a couple of snacks in there. My nutritionist would not agree. But little care packages to show that, hey, you're not alone on this journey, even though it might feel lonely. So family support means everything to me.
I love it. In terms of right now, when you're looking at the next 4 years, do you sit down and you break it down, right? I've got these 3 competitions. Because if you've got so many competitions in 1 year, isn't it difficult to be at your peak the whole time?
Yeah, it definitely is. So
It must take its toll on your body.
It definitely does, and my mind. But it's important to plan with your coaches to see, hey, okay, I'm going for this tournament, and be realistic with what you're expecting yourself to do and how you're gonna perform. Like you said, we have several competitions a year, so in any sport, it's really difficult to just perform at be number one in everything. So knowing when to peak. So for example, for us, like this year, the 2 most important competitions in the fencing season, excluding SEA Games, would be Asian Championships and World Championships. And those are the last 2 competitions of the season. And that's like after competing for so many competitions in a row. So it's like learning how to peak at the right time, pace yourself, take care of your injuries, take care of your mental well-being and all that. It's I'm still learning how to master that, but it's important. That's why I'm saying, like, having your support system and your team right there with you to discuss. So I had to miss 3 competitions this season due to injury.
Yeah.
Obviously, that took a toll on me mentally because I'm like, I want to keep my world ranking up. But it's like knowing when to prioritize and knowing when to, okay, I'm going to give up this competition so I can come back, 2 times stronger in the next one.
Well, at least you've got the wisdom, right?
Yeah.
That the age gives you. Now, just to wrap up, tell us about your shirt.
Oh, my shirt, So this is the shirt for the Paris Olympics, Singaporean shirt. Yeah, I decided to come in it today.
Thank you for wearing it today.
I'm surprised I can fit into it. But yeah, it's a pleasure.
No, it would have probably shrunk in the wash. That's what I always say.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
I just got a bit, jacked.
That's it. Listen, Amit, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much.
I've really enjoyed today's chat.
Thank you. Me too. Thanks for having me.